Here it is, the Gabster TD1 version 3.3. If you have the old one, the version 3, you're not really missing much. They're pretty much the same. The sound is the same. So what's new in version 3.3? The attenuation resistors for the I2S signal have been removed. We're not using them that much really. And I just put tiny little pads with holes, so in case someone want to use direct wires, they can still throw a resistor in there as well. So these are gone, and this way a little bit straighter and more streamlined. Next thing is now you can put actually LED lights on your board. If you do have the older version 3, you can still do that. It's not a big deal. I can show you how to do it. So basically you grab one of the LEDs and there's a resistor that goes with it, and you put them both in series between the two pads. So for example, between the 15 volt you put the resistor, in this case 4.7K, and the blue LED, and you just solder them. If you have the old version 3, you can still do it very easily. Just make sure you don't have a little pad in the middle, so make sure you butt the two together, and then just add a dab of solder with a bit of flux in between them. It should pretty much work the same. Now I put here two green lights for the +5 and the -5 volt, but maybe you want to put a red light for the -5 volt. You can change the color of the LED and order a red one instead. So it's up to you. Or you may be just a purist and don't want any LEDs at all, and you can also do that. So bear in mind that these pads can you use for multiple reasons. We can use them for testing purposes by putting a little bit jumper pins on them. We can also use them to put like screw-in terminals, and you can use them for LED lights. They're multi-purpose and they work very well in each way. I think the LEDs will be probably the most popular option here. Now, since we are putting LED lights, I suggest we put the wires from underneath the board rather than from the top, and this way it makes it a little nicer and cleaner looking. And there's a little space anyway underneath, so it actually looks pretty good. You can do that with your version 3 as well. These are all can be adopted in version 3. There's no more need to fix the C27 positive pad. I fixed that, of course, so that's no longer one of the issues. So on the front end here, now you can put different RCA connectors. There's been lots of people wanting to try different RCA connectors. Now you can. There's provisions for different kinds. So what kind of RCA connectors you can use? So we've been using those, and they're really good quality ones. You can get them for from Audiophonics for €8, or you can get them from AliExpress for $2.65. They're both identical, trust me about that. These you can get from Audiophonics. They're simple, but they're very effective and they're nice. You may have to bend them a little bit or adjust some, and they should fit. Now these ones are really good, and these are my favorite ones, and you can get them for €12 from Audiophonics, or for the same price you can get 5 pairs of them from AliExpress. And I've bought, trust me, they look the same. I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. And I saw a more expensive pair on AliExpress, and also bought that one thinking these would be better. I got them both. They're exactly identical. I even filed the inside to see if one have more copper than the other, and no, they're both exactly the same. I wasted about $400 of my money because I designed a board based on these measurements, and they were off. The numbers are right, but they're not from center to center pin. They were from edge to edge, and that made me waste $400 and 2 weeks in waiting time. And the last ones are Furutech. These are Japanese RCA connectors. They're high quality, but they're very expensive. They're €130 a pair. When you get to this kind of price, don't expect you're going to get a lot for your money here. That gets a law of diminishing returns happening really fast. So the board should fit those connectors. I've designed it to fit them based on their schematics, but I have not tried them, nor am I willing to spend that kind of money to try them. But you are welcome to give it a try, and they should hopefully fit. I just don't trust any schematics anymore. I think if you want my opinion, these ones are probably the best bang for your dollar here, and I think they're pretty nice, solid connectors, and they're very high quality as far as I see them. Any of these connectors should sound the same, unless you go super cheap and get some crazy bad ones. But any of these I'm talking about here, they should all pretty much sound the same. The quality of the sound depends on your TDA chip. Spend the money there on basically your cables and your other components in your chain. So don't waste too much money on that short, tiny segment. If you are using those connectors, you gotta be careful. There's a little screw in here, and sometimes it protrudes and it can touch the positive pad here and make a short. And I've had that before. So you wanna make sure you take a screwdriver, it's a little hex, and then make sure you tighten it all the way down so it's not protruding. And when you put it on the board, it should lift a tiny bit off the bottom, otherwise you will connect, some of this base could connect with the positive pad underneath. You'll create a short. So make sure you lift it, maybe put a little tiny thing, shimmy underneath it, just so there is a little clearance between the base of the RCA connector and the board to avoid any possible shorts. And I updated the bill of material from Mauser, so now it actually adds the little LEDs. I took the little resistors out. Mauser keeps running out of stock of different things. Right now they're out of the Wima capacitors, so we're using the 10% version, and also ran out before. We had to change them to the 400 volt version. So things are pretty much dynamic. I'm pretty much have to keep my eye on it because there's things that keep getting out of stock. Feel free to change the build of material from Mauser when you're ordering. Let's say you don't need an XLR connector, there's no need to buy it. Let's say you don't need 15 UFL connectors, you're not using a PCM board, because that alone takes about 10 of them. Or maybe you don't need an LED. So it gives you just some option, but otherwise I would just order the whole thing. So there you have it. Like I said before, if you have the version 3, you're really not missing that much, because you can pretty much implement most of these things already. I've labeled all the pads so you know which one is positive, which one is negative. I'll put some measurements out there. I think someone want to try something different, at least they'll know if it's going to fit or not. So basically just freeze the screen. There are about 8 different shots here. You basically look at the white line where I'm measuring, and where the gray shaded area tells you pay attention to the lens part. So the lens is the distance of that white line that I'm using between different portions. And as you do that, I'm just going to thank you guys for supporting the TD1 project, and it's really been helpful, and it's kind of been an enjoyable actually experience for me, so I'm very happy with that.